My goodness. We got to start over. We're starting over. Ach, och. We're starting over. I just recorded. I thought I was recording and I was like blabbing away. And then I noticed after 4 minutes, I hadn't even started the go live. Well, we're live. Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with Astrology Mojo. Thank you for joining me. In case you don't know me, you may not know that I say that the planets don't make you do anything in astrology, that we live in a cooperation with the cosmos, so that when the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, the planets reflect that by way of aspects and angles in astrology. That's how I see it, how I have experienced it. And I'm going to have a sip of my happy butterfly pea flower, PEA flower. Okay, so we're talking about some retrograde planets today. Yes, we are. Come and join me. Come say hello. Okay, got the frizzies today. I was out pruning the roses. Did a morning hike. Things are starting to open up now in the world. In some places, yes, there's an official lockdown. In certain places still, because as the virus does its wave and does its thing, different countries, cities, towns, etc., provinces will be experiencing a different version of stuff. So here in Sedona, restaurants are just starting to open a couple here and there, and they open the trails. People are still very respectful, and we appreciate that. My hair is sticking to the microphone. Got to move it. Okay, so when we look at retrograde planets, and I want to show you, I hope it's the right screenshot. Hada, it is. Ta-da-da. Hada. Okay, so let me just make that a little smaller. And I'm going to move it over here. Oh, well, I did that anyway. So that you can see me. There we are. Hey, I'm getting a hang of this techno pop. Okay, it's been a little bit weird and difficult because I had over 6,000 spam, blah, blah, in my folder for Elaine at Astrology Mojo, and I was not able to get email. So if you sent me an email, I did not get it. I apologize. Just fixed it yesterday. Click, delete, click, delete, click, delete. Yeah, 6,000 spam, garbage, trash. Here we are. Now let's talk about this retrograde. All of these retrogrades, okay? So we've got, let's see. Let me move my head. Where is it? Oh, I'm going to move this again. Ba-ba-da-ba. And make it smaller. Who's here today? Hi, Diana. You're welcome. Rikara, hope you're doing well, staying healthy. And there. Can we see that now? Yes, we can. All right, so we've got Venus. Wait, my hand's not going to reach over there. There's Venus over there, retrograde. And right behind me, we have Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, all retrograde. And if you are interested in things like that, hi, Christine. I wrote my notes so that you can see. Well, Saturn, the planet that represents structure, karma, ambition, masculine authority figures, and your need to create slowly, steadily, up the mountain, like a mountain goat with a tail, a dolphin's tail, in the mysterious waters of evolution and spirituality, but then keep climbing, piety, and that wisdom and authority that you have, self-service and sacrifice, but not denial. That's Saturn, goes direct September 28th. Jupiter, all about expansion and benevolence, travel, scientific methods, discoveries, and also publishing and writing. And just that big old, yeah, let's do it feeling goes direct in September. Pluto, the planet that, well, the dwarf star, sometimes referred to as a planet, I would say, yeah, it's a planet in astrology, represents your TNT for the psyche, core transformation, the place where the fears reside, goes direct October 4th. And Venus, which represents your finances, romance, female energy, feminine energy, could be a man, but who's much more on the feminine side, or the feminine nature, or the receptive and allowing nature in a person. And finances, I mentioned finances, also gardening, food, and the earth, and stubbornness. Okay, when Venus is retrograde, sometimes we latch onto something. I'm going to just get rid of this. It's distracting me. Sometimes we latch onto something and we don't want to let go. That's it. That's a Venus feeling. It's like saying, no, I gave them a gift, and now, my birthday's coming up. I should get one from them. And then you don't. Or I'm not going to stop working on this computer program until I figure it out. And then, at the sake of your neck is hurting, your back. So I think it's really important that these retrogrades right now, and then in June, we will add Mercury in retrograde to the mix. But that's a separate conversation. So I'm just going to start with these. And I was doing some card pulling today for the group and for today, and I'm going to share that with you guys later. This is the Colette Baron Reid, The Enchanted Map. And actually, maybe I'll start with that. Maybe I'll just start with that. Come say hello to me today. We're talking about, hey, Kathleen's here as well. So I want you to really hone in on what the thing is that you are stubborn about, that you refuse to let go of, and it's a behavior. I'm not saying, well, I'm pissed at them because they're doing this. No. This is your behavior we're talking about. This is your internal compass. And sometimes when you're wearing metal and you're using a compass, the needle goes wacky. It doesn't know true north, and true north has actually changed by degree. It's changed on the earth. True north is no longer always true north. Sometimes it leans towards Siberia, believe it or not. I read up on that last week. It's pretty fascinating. And we're thinking that it's the thermo at the center of the earth does something, and then true north goes wacky. But anyway, your inner true north, what is that about? Where are you going with it? Right now, we're given the time and the opportunity to sit down, be still, take care of your home environment, clean up the messes, and start to, sweep away those things that have stopped you from paying attention to what's going on the inside. The inside. I don't know. What do you think? What are you working on? What are you annoyed about? Okay, yeah, there's people losing their jobs. There are tough times for a lot of people. But just like with anything that we deal with on this planet, we hear it, we react to it, we hope we respond by researching, tuning in and saying, what is it for me? Not what are they telling me, but what is it for me? And then we sometimes get desensitized to it. And it's like, it's just, and then suddenly everyone's doing something that they would not have been doing 3 months ago. And then losing sight of, perhaps, what your true nature is trying to share with you. So what is that? What you're feeling stuck. You're feeling like you can't get somewhere or do something, or maybe some people, and I've spoken to some clients, they're so relieved that they can be at home right now. Just, I need to take that break. I need a breather. It's been too much. So when you think about how you've been feeling, I'm looking for my glass cleaner because I have smudgies. Smudgy the whale. When you're thinking, there it is. When you're thinking about what you're doing at home, are you focused on things that not just, okay, you're providing care for people in the community, maybe you're helping the elders or people who work at hospitals to walk their dogs, or, in our case, in this neighborhood, we're very fortunate. We live in a small town, and most people are really very respectful and cognizant of what's going on. So everyone's cleaning things and, being aware, just being aware. And so what happens then is that we start to slow down our mechanisms that would have us be speeding along to get that thing done over there. So we're supporting restaurants in the neighborhood that are staying open for door drop only or delivery, and making sure that, we get lunch over there, a salad over here, and minimal hours, we get it. So, but then we look at our lives and say, oh my gosh, we're so blessed because we have family. I don't live alone. I can share something with my neighbor. We talk about things, we help each other out. But there are some people who just, the frustration is growing, and the inability to get out there, especially if you live in a very big city, the inability to get out there and go do the things that you want to do. Spoke with a dear friend the other day, and she said, that's it. She gets at least 2 massages a month, and, she lives in a very big city and works long hours. And she's like, that's it. I've had it. I'm exhausted. I'm tense, So she had her massage guy come to the house, and he was very careful and everything was clean. And she's like, no, I trust. And I said, that's a beautiful thing, to know what you need and then to not be holden to someone else's interpretation of what you should be doing. So she let somebody in her house. I hugged a neighbor whose dog passed away. And it was a mutual thing. Like, she needed it. She lives alone and she needed the hug. But yet, interesting, her son came to visit from a big city, and she said, no, I wouldn't hug him because he's out in the world. He works at a thing, and then he goes there, and then he goes there. Who knows what he's picking up? But I'm in my house all the time. So she knew I was safe. It's a perception thing. And so when Venus goes retrograde, which it is now, when Venus is retrograde, we start to turn inward and say, am I more feminine or more masculine? What have I been denying? What about my finances? What's happening there? Some people I know, my husband included, the work has not stopped. It's mounting. So much work. And which is a blessing, right? And that enables him to look at, okay, how do I want to do this? Who do I want to work with? What are my standards? So you see that you can set a financial standard when Venus is retrograde. Also when Saturn is retrograde, you go in and you look at, what is it for me? How does it apply to me? Now, you may not even know that Saturn is retrograde, but then what you come up with here internally, body, mind, spirit wise, you might say, yeah, I have my own way right now. Now that I'm home, I don't want to work out at 6 a.m., someone might say, because now they don't have to get up early to get to work, and so they would work out ahead of time. Now they're saying, I have a different rhythm. My structure, that's a Saturn thing, my ability to make that decision for me, because who's the boss of you? That's what Saturn wants to know. And we hope the answer is, I'm the boss of me, right? So when you're looking at setting up your day, your structure, you want to keep something organized, even if it has dramatically shifted and you're no longer doing the same things you were doing at the same times. Now it's, I still want to do yoga. What is the best time for me? And you tune into that. That's the receptive part of Venus, shows your receptivity. And, well, when I babysat my nephew once, he's now 28, but when he was 4 or 5, and he was in kindergarten, I think I've told this story before, and he was sick, so I went over and I babysat, and he asked me, we were watching a show, and we had been doing some drawing and coloring, and then we watched a show because he wasn't feeling so great. And he said, what time is it? And I said, it's about 11:45. Why? I mean, he's so little that he was so insistent on knowing the time. And he said, because when it's 12 o'clock, I have to eat lunch. And I said, okay, are you hungry? And he said, no, but at school we eat lunch at 12 o'clock. So 2 conversations on that. One is, society is structuring someone, having them to be a certain way. He is absolutely not that way today, but at the age of 5, he was. So when you think about, I'm going to move this, I hope it doesn't squeak too much. When you think about what you're doing now, what's your timing? What is your timing? That's what you want to question. It's like, oh, it's 9 a.m. I better get that coffee made because, oh, wait, no, I don't have to. I can go work out if I want to, or whatever the case may be. So I want you to think about that, because Saturn is the physical structure, your bones, your teeth, your joints, your knees. If you're having issues, now is the time to do the research where you can get those exercises done for the joints, the knees, Donna Eden, polarity, energy work. I went on because I have been having a knee issue. I'm a Capricorn rising, and Saturn guides Capricorn. And so when I saw that coming around, and I thought, okay, how are my bones doing? Let me just do some extra stretches. And I would go on and research on YouTube, and I found Dr. Joe and Bob and Brad, and they are physical therapists. And then also my brother-in-law is a McKenzie therapist and amazing at what he does as a faculty. And so I would incorporate those things and say, all right, it's time to do my knee exercises before I do, jumping on the trampoline, the rebounder. And all these things are great for cartilage, for joints. And so, I structure my own thing instead of, all right, I only have 20 seconds to so you have to decide now what's good for you. And that's Saturn is your structure, and your bones, your teeth, your skin. Saturn also represents denial. So where are you in denial right now about anything that deals with your authority, your knowledge, and you standing up for yourself? Okay? We gotta, and this is not a political forum, and I'm not going to go there, but we got a letter in the mail that said, please check which box you will be voting, Democrat or Republican. And my husband and I looked at each other, and it says, this will not change your party affiliation, but you only get to choose one of the two. And I said to my husband, well, that's not the original Republic was actually also very Democratic. So I said, it's not either, right? How do you allow someone to state their party and say, I'm libertarian or I'm independent, but you're only allowed to vote Republican or Democrat? How is that a republic, a true republic? How is that true democracy? How? And that made us laugh, and also got a little incensed, like, we're going to wait till the last minute before we mail this paper in, because we have the right to vote. Why are you telling us how? Why are you telling us how to vote? I know why. I know the answer to that. But that's the kind of thing that comes around in a Saturn retrograde when someone says, you have to do it this way. But no, I don't. I really don't. Who's here? Come say hello. Amy, Shaida. Christine says, had been building a new business. Everything has been put on hold. Give me the chance to reevaluate. Yes, that's a wonderful thing to do during this time. You have to reevaluate. You have to reevaluate. And, Kathleen bought some tea, right? Isn't it fun? I sent some to our kid as well, and they were like, oh my God, all our friends want to know, where did you get it? And I add a little stevia to it. Sometimes I will add green tea to it and it turns a different color. Sometimes I'll add a jasmine green tea to it and it turns like an olive green. So I play with the color and the taste. Okay. Now, When Jupiter is retrograde, and Jupiter is in the sign of Capricorn right now, but when it is retrograde, it helps you to determine where do I want to put my energy for expansion? Is it in a business? That would be a Saturn issue, but Jupiter is in Capricorn, guided by Saturn. So your expansion now can come through, I might have teeth issues, but what's going to happen? How does that work? We are in lockdown. So the dentist here in town, you have to wait in your car. Only 3 people allowed in the building at the same time. Everybody wears masks. Everybody's got spray bottles. I mean, they're very clean. Certain things they cannot do, but they're in there cleaning. Certain things they cannot turn on because of the ramifications of bacteria, etc. So these are going to be more prevalent now that Jupiter is retrograde and Saturn is retrograde in conjunction, and then Pluto is retrograde because it's all in Capricorn. And this earth sign of Capricorn looks to dig deep into the nebula because the symbol of Capricorn is a mountain goat climbing, but its tail is curled up like a dolphin in the water. And so bringing up mysticism, what is my best use of time with Saturn and Jupiter in Capricorn retrograde? I would say it's time to reconnect to something that you deem a spiritual practice. That could be meditation, it could be prayer, it could be yoga, it could be tarot readings, it could be planting a garden, something earthy, weeding a garden. Saturn is great for pulling weeds. That's what it represents. It's like, let's get rid of the dead, the bramble. Get out of the thickets and the thorns that you've been living in that, prick your finger and you're, ouch. And I'm sitting a certain way and my neck hurts. And, well, there's your bones, or I keep chewing, crack walnuts with my teeth. You can't do that anymore. So there has to be a new order to your expansion. And then when we look at Pluto, and Pluto is all about the fear on the core level and transformation. And now think of this. You don't have to fight. You can move energy. You don't have to fear. You can become present and then admit to yourself that fear is present. Because then it separates you from the fear so you can take a better look at it. Does that make sense? So if something comes up and someone says, oh, I'm not going there. I'm not getting on a bus. Are you kidding me with all the germs? I'm not going there. Well, what if your only way to get to the doctor was on a bus? What do you value more? Now we're looking at Venus, because Venus is all about value. And so then comes the mindset, and I come back to Pluto. And the mindset, because the fear is going to rule your mindset. And so if you stop and say, well, if I am clean and my body needs a certain amount of bacteria, I have to touch something. If I've got bacteria on this pen, then I absorb it. My body then learns to fight against it or learns to transmute the energy to up my immune system. That's what it does. That's what biology does. So if I have to take a bus and I'm scared to death to take a bus because, oh my God, that's crazy. You don't want to, don't touch me. Don't breathe on me. Because there's this phobia that has grown out of proportion in some places, I think. Of course, I understand people don't want to get sick. Of course, right? I understand that. I've been sick. I was sick at the end of January, and I coughed so hard, and I actually thought after a few months, you know what? I think I had a version of this thing. I must have. My husband didn't get it. I didn't see anybody in person to infect. So I'm thinking, yeah, I think I had a version of this. And my husband had been traveling, and he came back through the airports. And he said there was like 7 people on the plane. And I said, are you nervous? And he said, no. And I said, okay. So we eat well. We're very low to no sugar. So we already know that what we're doing to increase our health, we are not insulin resistant. That is a huge marker for being susceptible to a virus. We are low sugar, very low carbs. We work out, so it's a combination, body, mind, spirit. So if you're afraid to get on that bus, you have to ask yourself, okay, do I have it in me to meditate, to go where that fear is, to write about it, to express it, to get it out of my body, to be safe in other ways? I wash my hands, I do all the sprays, I've got the mask. Okay, then when there's no one around, take the mask off and breathe oxygen. You need to breathe oxygen. Or if you've got a mask on all day long and you're in a facility where you can't, do your best to, on a break, get outside and deep breathe air. Because with a mask on all day, you are now breathing in your own pathogens. And then you lower your immune system. So we have to be aware, right? Not afraid, aware. There is a difference. Does that make sense? Okay, so then you can change your mindset and say, you know what, I'm not going to fight the virus or the people or the situation or the political people, whatever. You're not going to fight it. You're going to transmute your own energy. This is how Pluto retrograde kind of opens a door. Doesn't do anything really, but how the door is opened for you now to make a decision to say, I am going to, like Quasimodo in The Last Samurai, in search of the perfect blossom. And at the end of his life, spoilers after 15, 20 years, I hope not, he sees a blossom tree as he's dying and the wind blowing the blossoms. And that's when he has the aha moment. Oh, they are all perfect. So the whole thing is not to narrow focus. Venus, the definition of a Venus in retrograde can be you get so stubborn, you're narrow focused on, it's got to be this way, I'm not going to let it go. Sit back, breathe, stretch. I work with Sue Ellen in my neighborhood, and she's a polarity expert. And she gets into the scapula and she'll pull it. And she said, this is amazing. I can get my entire fingers into your scapula and I can pull and I can get in there. And I said, well, why is that so amazing? I mean, I could feel it while she's doing it and it feels like a hearty stretch. Let's put it that way. She said, with most people I work on, it is so stiff, I can't get my fingers in at all. It's like rock solid. And I said, what does that represent? So I can share that with people. She said, people are not breathing. People are not breathing and they're tense. So stretch your body daily. Take deep breaths daily. Then you're serving your biology, right? And then with the Venus in retrograde, whether you're a woman or not, or gender non-specific, it doesn't matter. What it represents is your ability to allow. What are you disallowing? That's the question. Are you disallowing romance? Are you disallowing finance? Are you disallowing a healing, a physical healing, an emotional healing? Are you disallowing your own creative flow? Think about that, okay? With Saturn retrograde, where do you need to clean up your business, clean up your space? Saturn retrograde for me, well, it was so prevalent the past couple of weeks. I would send emails from Elaine at astrologymojo.com. And then a week later, people would say, oh, when am I going to get my the link to my reading? I was like, I sent it. I sent all my links, typically within 24 hours. And some people are like, I'm not getting it. So I had to go look. What's behind the scene? Retrograde steps back, turns you inward, behind the scene. So I had to look behind the scenes at all the tech stuff that supports my website, my email system, the whole thing. And, yesterday, delete 6,000 emails, junking up the works. And then we had to set a new security code and things like that. So Venus also represents financial security. So if you are any version, sun, rising, moon, of Taurus or Libra, I want you to be really, or you have Venus in your 8th house in your chart, or Venus is now transiting your 8th house. I want you to be really aware of all your passwords, and for anything financial or anything dealing with your business. So you might need to make a list of them. You might need to go in and change those passwords and then keep them in a very safe place so you don't forget, because we're in a retrograde and you might go, oh yeah, I'll remember that. I'll remember that password. Right. Of course you will. As soon as Venus goes direct and you have to get in there and then something, oh, wait a minute. What was that? Wait. Darn, I should have wrote it down. That's what it's going to feel like. So I want you to make sure that you're in there, you're taking care of business, the structure, the behind the scenes of the structure, okay? And then the fear would be the Pluto part. What are you afraid of? That it's never going to happen, that you won't have the funds. Ask for help. You know, the Jupiter and Venus together represent this magnanimous energy. I got that for you. Let me get that for you. No, it's my treat. Let me, and then they're doling out the gifts, the platitudes, the gratitudes. But when the things are retrograde, it's time to look at what you need. And if you have to ask for help, you need to allow that Venus subtext. Does this make sense? Am I making sense? Just let me know. Okay. And pretty soon, let me just go over one more time. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Venus, Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter in retrograde. And 3 of them are retrograde in Capricorn. And then Venus is retrograde in Gemini. So Venus goes direct on June 24th, but that overlaps the upcoming Mercury in retrograde coming up soon. And then Pluto is direct October 4th, Jupiter is direct September 12th, and Saturn is direct September 28th. So September and October are going to be very powerful times for people to start to turn. It's like being in a revolving door, and you only get to see the inside. You only get to see behind the scenes. And then you go, oh, there's a faulty wire behind that wall. There's a synapse that's not connecting. There's a bone that's hurting. There's that's bothering me. So the inner stuff is going to show itself. And then on those dates, September and October, and also at the end of June, but because then there's 2 eclipses, so we're still going to be inward, believe me. But at the end of September through October, suddenly the revolving door turns and you get to see outward. And looking back at what you just discovered, now you have a brand new vision for, now I know how I want to move forward. Now I know how I want to move forward with my body, with my business, with my health, with my healing, with my finances, with my romance, with those travel plans that I had. Okay, like that. Making sense? All right, I'm going to talk about these cards that I pulled earlier for the group. And the first one, I keep pulling this one. And I'm telling you, when I mix up these cards, I'm like, I am mixing them. And then this one, literally, both of these cards flew out of the deck. And the first one, why are we not surprised? Stuck in the mud. Who feels stuck in the mud? So it's not the time to move forward. It's the time to observe exactly what we were talking about and to find the joy. To find the joy and start to plan inward as you clean up these things that I'm talking about. Not just your closets and your drawers and the plan, but your body needs adjusting too. Your body needs stretching and breathing and gardening and weeding and planting and sowing. And you need to get into the inner space because this is where you're creating the outer reality. Okay? So stuck in the mud. It's okay to be there. Be there. That was the first card I pulled. Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing? Are y'all stunned? Okay. The second card I pulled is called Compass. Interesting, huh? Compass. I love this card. Look at that. It's astrological glyph with compass. Now, this is uncharted territory for a lot of people. And, you know, to stay truthful toward your destiny. And remember, destiny, where am I? Destiny does not mean written in stone. It means your spirit's destination. How do you want to get there? What do you want to do? And to keep this in mind as you're calculating, you know, you are in a collaboration for not just money and prosperity and achievement and prestige, but you're in a collaboration with spirit. So this is a time to connect to that, to go back in, to meditate, to stop and breathe, to reconnect to your body, your mind, your spirit. Because you are pure conscious love, and there's a bird that just came to my window, fluttering. How beautiful. Make sense? All right. Oh, and the other thing that's coming up that I'll be talking about soon is also the North and South nodes are going to be changing signs. They're always in a retrograde phase, and they're going to be moving back into Gemini, and then its opposite, Sagittarius, coming up in early June. So that's going to be the next conversation we're going to have before we talk about the Mercury in retrograde. So I will be back on Monday. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. That is May 25th. Is that Memorial Day weekend? Sometimes I lose track. Sometimes I don't know what month I'm in. Where am I? I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. Aren't you? Okay, folks, I hope this has helped you. I hope this has given you some insight on, even though you might feel stuck in the mud, it's okay because you're being redirected towards your inner compass. So go there. Go there. Go there often. Play, have fun. Get organized. Clean up your stuff. Go through paperwork. All that kind of thing. You know, it's really going to help you clear it out. Remember, you're turned inward now. Your body, your mind, your spirit, your adrenals, your throat, communication, that's Venus, and adrenals, sugar levels, let's lower that insulin. The Saturn version is the bones, the skin, the teeth, the nails, the joints, the structure of your body. Jupiter represents the thighs, the hips, and any kind of overindulgence. Watch that sugar. And then Pluto is going to be your reproductive system. Maybe it's hormones. Maybe you're facing a healing through illness. And instead of fighting it, people are like, fight it, fight it. No, we're just going to move energy. We're going to move that energy toward, I'm going to reconnect to my higher self, my spiritual self. And in doing so, I open up a channel so that I can not only see inward in the retrograde, I could see outward. Okay, I'll be back on Monday. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you for being here. Thank you for be sparkly, be well, be happy, go be creative, go be you. Go be you. See you soon.